Good morning, Facebook. How are you guys doing out there in the wonderful world of social media? I'm the host of the Live Your Mission live show, sponsored by Go7 Life, the guaranteed best price in life insurance in the nation. We guarantee it, or we will pay you $100. If we can't meet or beat your quote, we will pay you $100. How do you like that? That's pretty strong. I have a very awesome guest on the show today. This is my first guest interview. And, you know, the Live Your Mission, Love Your Life.com website, my show is all about how do we work together, sharing information that leads us all to success, sharing knowledge, sharing entrepreneurial secrets that are the methods to the madness of great success and wealth building. And so whenever I find somebody who has a piece of information to share, some good information they want to put out there, and they're willing to be on the show, man, I want to spread them far and wide. And so today on the show, we have Deborah Wilson, and it's Deborah Chelete-Wilson, if I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Deborah is going to be sharing her Sparkle Your Way to Success touch points here as we go through. She has an acronym, and Deborah is a national author. She's a speaker. You do all sorts of stuff, but I wanted to make sure you tell the folks here that are tuning in exactly what you're up to, and if you have a website where they can find you, you know, all that kind of stuff. Be sure to share that with everybody so that our guests know where to find you. And I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today and to share a little something I came up with that's called Sparkle Your Way to Success. And yes, I never have been very much into acronyms, but anyway, I've evolved, and so now I'm into them.
They're handy sometimes.
I've been a therapist, a trauma therapist for about 20 years. And my youngest clients have been 2, and my oldest client was 104. So I've been well taught about humanity and how to be successful in many ways and at many ages and stages of life. I also am an artist. You can see in the background some of my art, and a speaker, and I've just finished my 17th book, and the title of it is Your Brain and Heart Want to Talk to You, and it's a book for parents and educators and counselors to help understand how the brain and the body work, and the heart, because they're all connected, just kind of like all of us, we're all connected.
Your brain and your heart want to talk to you.
Yes. Anyway, it's been a joy to write that book, and so now I can move on though, because I've started my 18th. I don't have the title yet, but it's but it's going to be a series of books, novels about sharing the contribution that women have made to the world that I don't think we always get credit for.
Very nice.
So I'm going to I'm excited about those.
Where do people find you?
My website is Deborah at Boundless Freedom. Oh, that's my website's boundlessfreedoms.com, and my email is Deborah, DEBORAH, Deborah the long way, at boundlessfreedoms.com. So it's Boundless Freedoms with an S, because I'm into being free and helping anyone who wants to get free to be free too.
Awesome. Well, I love that idea. I threw it up on the screen here. Hopefully, if that's spelled right, it looks like it's spelled right. Boundlessfreedoms.com. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. And so what I offer people, if they're interested, they can email me and sign up for a free 15-minute consult with me. And also, I have a women's group that meets on Tuesday mornings, and we share, it's called Time for Your Beautiful Self, about women engaging in the conversation about self-care, which we don't do very well, and I think we need. So people can contact me, and I'll be glad to give them the links to those things and have them join me. It'd be
very
wonderful.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, I know that you have a little talk prepared for us today, Sparkle Your Way to Success, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to get into it and that everybody has an opportunity to catch it all. So let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. Okay, well, Sparkle stands for, S is for success, which was we all want to have in our lives. And what I've come to realize is that we need to individually define what success is for us instead of letting the media or somebody else define it for us. Because one size to me does not fit all. All of our lives are unique and they're different. And so I think that we need to kind of create a you incorporated because each person has a lot of things that they need to deal with, and they need to find the ways that work for them in life. And so I think one size does not fit all. So each person needs to define success for them, because what's successful for one person may not be for someone else.
Absolutely. And you have to know what you're pushing towards.
Yeah, exactly. And P in Sparkle is for purpose. Because if we don't know what our purpose is, then how are we going to know where to go? And part of purpose, I think, is to be able to identify your values. We all have them. But what I've found, like in my own life, I never really paused in life to really think about what they were and to identify them. So I went through a process of consciously identifying my values and realized that I had been living more toward them than what I realized. And so that also helped me to begin to create my definition of success on them. And I've come to also realize that instead of finding ourselves, we just need to create who we want to be. And again, out of our own definitions of what that is for us. Then, so that's what Peace for the Purpose is.
Very good, very good.
A is for alignment. So we need to become aligned, and I've kind of helped people to pick a few, like 3 of their values, because we have so many, to focus on, and then connect that with our, why am I here? What am I here to do? What's my purpose? And so merging those together and then taking committed action based on those 2 things, what my values are, what is my why, and then taking committed action on a daily basis to make sure that I'm living consistent with those, because that's going to define my level of success. And so if I do that every day, then as far as I'm concerned, I'm being successful.
Absolutely.
Because to me,
I like that. I like the thing you said, take daily action. That's also, A in there for your alignment, but once you find the purpose, the thing you're pushing towards, daily measuring yourself and daily checking in with your alignment to make sure you're taking action and moving towards that purpose. That's great stuff.
Yeah, and I think that also is very supportive and forward moving for us, because to me, you can build on success. You cannot build on failure. So if I'm taking little small steps of success, that's going to get me farther than if I get on myself about, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Hey, Chelsea Connolly hopped on. She's up here in your area with the Body Mechanics, and she's a sponsor of my Wine No Wine show. She hopped on, and she tagged her husband here, so hopefully he'll hop on as well.
Okay, great. Hi. I want to meet her next week. I'll be calling her.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. Okay, and then R is for responsibility. Now, when I grew up with responsibility, it was like a heavy thing, because it's like, if you're responsible, you're the one that everyone comes looking for when things don't work. I didn't like that. It's too heavy. So responsibility is responding to what's going on in your life rather than reacting in that. Because to me, when when we react from things, it's a very fear-driven place in our neurophysiology. And I won't get too much into that because I know it's kind of deep, but our bodies have a tendency to easily get triggered and react to things when we get stressed out, because our thinking gets confused and distorted, our short-term memory gets suppressed, and we just kind of come out either want to fight or run, or just freeze up, not do anything.
I did a whole show just on that very subject. So yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So, to me, responding is more love-driven because we're in a calm place. We have we're connected with what I call our intuitive intelligence. Our mind and our heart are in sync. We're in sync with our spirit and our soul, and so we make much better decisions from that place. And
Amen on that one.
and our behavior, and our behavior is more helpful not only to ourselves but to other people. So that's my idea about responsibility. I want to be more responsible in my life rather than reactive. It's like,
Yes.
Do I want to be part of the solution or part of the problem? Well, I want to be part of the solution.
Right.
I've thought that since I was a kid. That was one of my big questions I asked myself. And so that's my answer.
I like it.
Yeah. So K is for kindness. And to me, kindness begins within ourselves toward ourselves. Because in my work, I find that people are really not very kind to themselves. They're really hard on themselves. I think we're kind of conditioned to believe that if you're hard on yourself, you're going to get better. And in the short term, I think that may be true, but in the long term, I don't really think it is. Because again, I think people can be nurtured to success better than beaten over the head with the staff.
I know that's probably a toughest area for me. I've said for years that I'm my own worst critic, and it's definitely something. Not being negative, but there's a difference. So you said being hard on myself versus not being negative. It's not about negativity for me. It's just I expect a lot from me performance-wise, and just I want excellence. I want an excellence in everything that I do, and when it doesn't meet that, I get really hard on myself about what I could have done better and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's okay because I do that. I guess I do that a little differently now. I'm more kinder about it because I realize that I'm not in charge of everything.
Yep.
So it's just like if my technology doesn't work, because that's what happens a lot. So I'm not going to go critical, as I call it, on myself.
Yep.
And beat myself up because of the technology. I'm just going to do the best I can, go with the flow, and then later, kind of go back and put in the pieces that maybe I'm missing about my technology, or just sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes things just don't go the way we want. And instead of having a tantrum about it on myself, is usually what I would do, is I'm being a much more kinder and I think more reasonable with myself instead of expecting, things to be perfect, because I'm a perfectionist. I strive for excellence as well. But I think there's a difference between excellence and perfectionism. So
Yes.
I'm giving up the perfectionism. I still strive for excellence. And part of that is learning from every experience that I have and helping and kind of using that to upgrade myself instead of being critical about, well, why didn't you do this? Because, well, I didn't know. I mean, so how can I do something if I didn't know it? It's kind of like in the experience.
I think this is definitely one that really entrepreneurs, that's a lot of who I'm speaking to on the show on a regular basis is the entrepreneurs. I definitely see that as a consistent behavior that, most entrepreneurs type of it, if you're driven and pushing for success. And so it's really easy to get hard on ourselves, down on ourselves when something doesn't go exactly like we want it to go.
Right. And like I said, I've been there too. And I just realized that doesn't make sense. If I was totally in control of everything and everyone, then I could see that, but I'm not. And I mean, so sometimes we need to embrace our limits, not as excuses or justifications to not take action, but to be realistic in what we're doing. And I think that's especially true for entrepreneurs, because I see sometimes some of the people that I work with they're very unreasonable because it's, well, why didn't this person buy what I'm selling? Well, maybe they don't really need it. I mean, did you ever
Right.
think of that? I mean, I know we all want to think everybody needs what we have, but reality is maybe that's just not for that person right then, but that doesn't mean that you can't still be friends with them, keep in touch with them, and maybe they'll know somebody. So to me, I think we need to lighten up on that.
Absolutely.
And well, another thing about kindness is practicing the ability to shift from that fear-based place to what I call the love-based place. And that's when we're more in alignment. And to be aware, have that awareness, oh, I'm coming from that reactive place inside of me. So maybe I'm not trusting myself to be good enough. You know, maybe something's going on. Maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I'm not looking at the whole picture. I'm just looking at this little narrow place, you know, that I need to open up to. So shifting from fear to love, I think, is an important part of being kind to ourselves and having more confidence and trust in ourselves. Because if I'm afraid that something's not going to work out, then to me, that's an indication that I need to go within and look at what I'm thinking from myself about maybe I'm not trusting myself to be enough or whatever.
For sure. When you spend time coaching with folks, do you find that you spend a lot of time on focusing or talking about fear-based decisions and that sort of thing? At least in my own experience, you know, I've done limited coaching with individuals. It's not my main focus, but every now and then somebody will ask me if, you know, I want to sit down with them and kind of give them some pointers in life. And I definitely noticed this, for me, has been a theme, is that operate from fear a lot more than they realize.
Yeah, I agree very much so. I really think that's part of how we've been conditioned in our culture, because if you think about it, when we're more focused on what we've done wrong than what we do right. Even, you know, we're always in school and even in a lot of our parenting paradigms that we use, it's focused on what you're doing wrong, but it's not really telling children what they need to do. I've worked with lots of children. They've been some of my greatest teachers. And I chose to not forget what it was like for me as a child. How confusing it can be as a child from a child's perspective of what adults are telling you. I mean, as an adult now, I understand that people are coming from the best, wanting to help their kids to be the best in everything. But if they don't know how to child speak, as I call it, then they're missing something.
Yeah.
And
Joy Beckler, who joined us here, she just commented, she said, I needed this reminder this morning. And then she said, hey, Mars, to a friend of ours. So we've got a couple people that have tuned in, and they're talking on the comment feed.
Okay.
You know, I think people need to hear this kind of stuff, which is why we're doing it. And for everybody that's just kind of hopped in and jumping in, we've got author, national speaker, author, Deborah Chelete-Wilson, and she's talking to us today about sparkle your way to success. And we'll kind of do a really fast pass back through at the end of the video for those who got in late. But we're on right now, K for kindness. K is for kindness. And you know, this kind of struck a chord with me, guys, with that. It's easy as an entrepreneur and an individual, especially if you're driven in life and you've got goals and stuff, to get really down on yourself or really hard on yourself when things don't turn out just like they're planned. And we don't always have control over everything. So, in fact, we have control over very little. We have control over how we react. That's really about it. And then outside of that, everything is out of our control. So anyway, I'll turn it back over to you. I know we have L and E to get to yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're still on K for kindness. And the last one is be a teapot, not a teacup.
Oh, wow.
And what that means is, if I have a cup of tea and then you want some of my tea and I give you some, and somebody else wants some of my tea and I give them some, pretty soon I don't have any tea and neither does anybody else. But if I have a teapot full of tea, then we all get tea and we share our tea. So I think that's, in that way you don't burn out, because sometimes we just give and give and give, but we don't keep replenishing ourselves. And I think that's something we need to be more kind toward ourselves about that because we are human beings. We do have our own needs. And that's part of what why I started my my circle called Time for Your Beautiful Self, because I know what I've been through as a woman. Now I know this is also true for men because I do work with men as well, but my focus is on women because I know more about that. But men don't self-care either, as they need
Very
to.
true.
But in my circle as women, we talk about the challenges of self-caring when everything is important. You know, it's like, what are you going to give up? Your kids, your house, your job, your husband, your community, your family. How do you juggle it all? You know, and so we're engaged in that conversation with each other, sharing with each other and helping each other come up with some solutions that we can try to see if we can be more kinder to ourselves. Because another part of kindness is if I'm not kind to me, if I don't self-care, how am I going to other care?
Very true.
You know, I've got it, because I burnt out more than once in my life. So I know that game. I don't want to go there anymore.
Right.
Okay, L is for leadership, and I say leadership the feminine way because I think the feminine way isn't necessarily about females. It's a mindset because there's a feminine mindset and a masculine mindset. They live in both sexes, or regardless of what your sexual persuasion is. It's a mindset. And the mindset that I think is important in leadership is, number one, beginning with yourself. How am I leading myself? If I don't lead myself, how I expect to lead anybody else? And then part of leadership is leading by example. So how I lead myself now is I'm the counselor, I'm the coach, I'm the writer, I'm the artist, I'm the cleaning lady, unstop the commode, answer the phone. So whatever it is, I'm in there doing. But I don't think that just because, once I get a team, have a team of people, that stops. That as a leader, I need to be in there with everybody else. And no job is too big or too small for me as a leader. And that's leading by example and showing people, not telling them. Because I just think showing people and being, because we're all working together to make something happen. And I find that unfortunately missing in the world today is that there's not enough leaders that are rolling up their sleeves and saying, let's get in here together and find a solution. And I want to hear what you've got to say because you may see something that I don't see because of where you're at in the organization. And so again, and also incorporating your why, your values, and sustaining that committed action based on those values, even as a leader, that you don't give them up just because you're a leader.
Absolutely.
And then the last one is E for engagement, and that's, to create your own tribe of people that are, in alignment with your values and what you're wanting to do, because then you can join together and building relationships, because you never know where they're going to go, and keeping healthy support, people supporting each other in a healthy way, and stop being the Lone Rangerette, as I call it, because that's what I've done too much in my life. And now I'm reaching out and meeting all kinds of people and creating relationships and having fun. So that's the last part, is making sure we have fun along the way. And I think that when you live your mission and you love what you're doing, that, it's fun and effortless.
Absolutely.
And
the name of the show, Live Your Mission. It's Live Your Mission Live, but the website is Live Your Mission, Love Your Life. When you're in tune with what you were meant to be doing, you're dialed into that, and you're focused on it every day. And you said, just to recap here, I want to see how well I do on this. You can see if I got it. S being for success, you have to define what success looks like for you. Let the world define what success looks like. Success for someone may be a nice car, but other people don't care about a car. So for success for some some people may not care about a house. So you have to be clear on what success looks like for you. And then you move into your purpose. You've got to have that dialed in and know what your calling is, what your mission is. Once you have an idea of what success looks like, now you need to be aligned with how you're going to get to that success. And then you lead into alignment. You have to every day, I love this one. This is a really great one. I think it's a great reminder for everybody, is that every day you have to check with your purpose and see if you're aligned and taking action towards that purpose. And then we're at responsibility. And I love this, the short version is the saying that I'm going to choose my actions, or I'm going to choose my responses. So rather than be reactive, I'm going to be response active. A lot. K is for kindness. We spent a lot of time on this because I think it struck a chord with a lot of folks. And in fact, I want to put up on the screen here, if you'll see this comment from Joy Beckler. She said, so the most loving thing we can do is to be, it's small, I'm blind. The most loving thing we can do is to be full, be a little selfish sometimes. Yeah, to be full. Be a little selfish. Some can't be our best for those we love. Yes. So she's asking, as a question there. But I think, yeah, that's nailing. You have to focus on ourselves, be kind to ourselves a little bit. And a number of people had chimed in with that. Mars had said, I'm such a butthead to myself. Yeah, we can be so hard on ourselves. So I think K is for kindness struck a chord with a few people today. Leadership the feminine way. Leading from the front is what I took from this, rather than from the back and go do. It's leading from the front, and this is how we do. I like that as well. E, engagement. E is for engagement. That was our wrap-up point. And reiterate this one. I got sidetracked with comments, and then I was like, oh man, I don't know if I have this 100. Let me wrap up with the E is for engagement again, and then remind everybody where they can find you.
Okay, so I stopped being the Lone Rangerette. That's because I was always, being independent. We're actually interdependent beings, and so we need each other. And we're stronger. We're stronger together than we are by ourselves. Is what I've got. And so create your tribe or a team of people that support you, and you support them, and build those relationships, and have healthy support in your life, and then have fun.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Live your. Yeah. So people where they can find you on boundlessfreedoms.com, and your email address. I didn't have this up there, but let's see here. I want to put it on so people can find you.
It's Deborah, Deborah, Deborah the long way, at boundlessfreedoms.com.
Excellent. Boundlessfreedoms.com. All right, I got that. Now I'll show that right quick. There we go. Yep. Deborah at boundlessfreedoms.com. And David said, he was responding or asking a question about joy there. He said, full of what? That is the question. What is the tea we put in the teapot? So
I guess whatever kind you choose.
we that's a great question. Like, what are you pouring out? What are you giving out? When you're in tune with your mission, and the sparkle your way to success is the way that you're phrasing it. It's saying the same thing. All of the touch points are things that I've touched on multiple times throughout the series. So it's right at 100% in line with what I'm trying to teach folks and that sort of thing. But when you're, Joy said, full of love. That's it. You're coming from a place of live your mission. When you're dialed into what I think you're really meant to be doing in life, then I don't see that as any way other than being able to be full of love and coming from a place of love. Because for me, mission is and serving others with your mission. So that's kind of the way I see it. So anyway, that's my thought. Well, we're right at the 10:30 mark. Any last closing comments or thoughts? And I'll put it back up on the screen where folks can find you again. And there we go.
Well, I guess living my mission is about really loving people, learning to love myself. And the more I do that, the more I have a bigger heart to love other people. I think that's why we're here. Life is about relationships. We are social creatures. We need to be in relationship with each other, but not just any kind of relationship. It needs to be a healthy, growing, loving, supportive relationship where we help each other, hold hands and help each other through life. I know that's kind of corny, but that's the way I feel.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Absolutely. For me, the greatest teacher said, I came to serve, not to be served. And so if I'm to emulate my teacher and mentor, then I have to be about that same kind of attitude. And so whenever I find things at work, whether that's another person sharing a message and then bringing that person onto a show to talk about it, or whether it's a book or anything, I'm always trying to share those messages with folks and inspire people to take action on those things that work in life so that we can all push towards a greater degree of success and happiness together. So that's what the show's about. I want to thank you for being on, Deborah, and for all those that have tuned in. I'm going to be uploading this video for folks who missed it, and it'll be up on our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/Joe Orsak, you'll find it over there. You can also go to joeorsak.com. I put it up there. And if you want to pick up some of our inspirational t-shirts and whatnot, you can go to liveyourmissionloveyourlife.com, liveyourmissionloveyourlife.com, and you'll find all sorts of really cool shirts with motivational sayings and things that come from the show, messages that we have from the show, and we have those in shirts, so you can pick those up and remind yourself how to stay on track with your alignment with your purpose. So, all right. I loved having you on, Deb. It was great, great message, thanks. And really appreciate it, and hope to see you again soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. We're out.